Light and love to all our beautiful listeners out there. I hope you're all having a awesome day, a awesome week. However, if you're not, then I'm sending all of the universe's positive vibes your way and hopefully changes for you very, very quickly. Welcome to LLAMASTE, the podcast by Pistachio Llama. I am your host, Stella. I'm so thrilled to have you back in our show, and I'm so thrilled to be filming episode 3. Yay! It honestly feels like only yesterday when I was sitting here in front of you. Yes, it was in a different corner of the room. It was in that corner. I can't show you my surroundings at the moment. I mean, it's a podcast either way. I'm uploading this to YouTube, but it's a podcast, visual podcast nonetheless. But it only feels like yesterday when I was sitting over in that corner filming this for the very first time, and I was like, am I doing the right thing? But you know what? Sometimes you just gotta throw yourself in the deep end and swim and see where it gets you. On the note of throwing yourself into the deep end and swimming, today's story is one of such inspiration and such dedication. Honestly, like if you don't find the story inspiring, like I found the story inspiring and I'm a boss girl. So if you don't find the story inspiring, then like I don't know what's wrong with you. So we're going to have a lovely young lady by the name of Sophie on our show today. She kindly offered to give up her time during the week for an interview. Yay, our very first interview for this week's podcast. So we're going to be playing that for you later on in the show. Also, I'm going to be taking you through Sophie's and Coco. Coco is her little poodle. So Sophie's and Coco's story, which is, as I said, super inspirational, super uplifting, and I hope it inspires you to do whatever the heck it is that you want to do with your life. Also, for our rand/comedy session this week, we are doing something on the lines of comedy, but word of warning, it's only funny because nothing happened to the cat, okay? Like, okay, so it's a story about a cat, but nothing happened to the cat. So that's what makes the story funny. So don't be a freaking moron trying to get your 5 minutes of fame to recreate the story and dump your poor little cat or poor little dog, or whether you have a hamster or a mouse or whatever it is that you have. I'm not going to give too much away, but just don't copy the story because like I'll be out to get you. Seriously, I will come out. I will find out where you live and I will come after you. So, getting into Sophie's story first and foremost. Sophie is a lovely young inspirational lady from Perth, Western Australia, with her little dog named Coco. Coco is a little poodle, like a beige little poodle for reference. Now, before we get into Sophie's interview, which happened earlier on this week, I will read you Sophie's submissions that she originally sent to us via email when she applied to be on LLAMASTE Podcast. A few weeks ago, Sophie and Coco attended a big show for dog agility. It was called the Western Classic. They had been training for weeks and weeks. It was the biggest competition that Sophie and Coco had ever attended, and it was really exciting and very nerve-wracking. When they entered the ring, as it was their turn, Sophie could tell that Coco was getting nervous. Coco does actually suffer from anxiety. Coco was about to get off her start line and Sophie could tell, so she luckily called Coco's name and Coco came off her start line and she was having a blast. Once Coco gets going, she's such a speedy little dog. She went around the full course clear. And guess what place they came? Yep, they won first place in JDX. It was a moment that Sophie will never forget with her little Coco. And then later on in the night, they did it all over again. And yet again, they won first place in JDX. Sophie says that Coco is her soul dog and she loves her to bits. The moral of the story is to never give up. And if you have an anxious dog, keep going and making everything you do fun with them because hard work pays off. They are such wise words. And once again, coming from such a young girl, it's so inspirational that someone at, at the age of 14 can think like such a mature adult. If you s- if you if you really want something, you need to fight for it because nothing worth having comes easy. So you need to put the effort in, you need to put the time in, you need to put the dedication in. No one wakes up in the morning and gets everything handed to them. You need to work hard. Now, speaking about hard work, I'm now going to play the interview we did with Sophie earlier on in the week, where she talks more about agility and dog training and the hard work and dedication that actually goes into preparing for one of these competitions. Hi, Sophie. Thank you so much for taking the time to come onto our show today and talk about agility. Now, for those listeners that might not know what agility actually is, could you explain what is agility?
So agility is a dog sport where the dog and the handler run around a course together. The courses consist of jumps, tunnels, weaves, dog walks, and A-frames. And there's also different types of jumps. And the goal is to go around the course clear without getting any disqualifications or faults. The faults can come from knocked bars or refusals. And there's a lot more reasons, but they're some of the most popular reasons. And then with disqualifications, they can come from taking off course obstacles. But of course, there's more as well, but that's just more the popular ones that most dogs do.
Yeah.
And each dog running different height classes. And there's 5 classes in Australia, which is 200, which is the smallest, then 300, 400, 500, and 600. Coco is in 300. And the goal is to get it clear. But the main thing is just have fun with your dog.
Yeah. Well, it sounds technical but exciting at the same time. And what made you and Coco want to get involved in agility?
So when I was younger, I used to do horse riding, and then eventually my trainer moved to Canada, and then I just couldn't do it anymore. And then we also had my older dog, who is now 8. She's my mom's dog. And I used to just pop her over any types of jumps, just little like random jumps. And then when we got Coco, I guess that just kind of got me into it all.
Yeah.
I just bought cheap things off Amazon, and then that just got me into it.
That's wonderful. And how long do you need to train or practice for a competition?
So every dog is different. With Coco, I generally do one official training, and then I do some skill training at home if I see she's struggling on a certain skill that she needs to do. But every dog's different, so it just depends on what dog you have and how they cope with training a lot.
Yeah. And would you have a favorite trick?
So in just original tricks, it's probably rebound. That's just where the dog jumps on you and then like flips off you. And in agility, it's basically just everything.
That's great. And what are your goals for the rest of this year and moving into the next year?
So for this year, it was getting into the junior state team, which we have achieved. And then
yay, congratulations.
Thank you. And then for the rest of the year is probably just getting into masters jumping, which we only need one more quali for. And then is probably trying to get some passes in ADX, which is we're struggling with a little bit, but we're getting there. And then also trying to get the WA Junior Handler Award of the Year.
Oh, wow.
For next year, it's probably the same as well, just get into the Junior Handler State Team of the Year again. And if we're in Masters in both classes, which is height levels that you go up in as you compete and get cues in. If we're put in Masters, which is the highest class by then, hopefully to get into the Seniors WA Agility State Team. But that's not something I'm expecting to get in straight away because it's a big step up from what we're doing right now.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Oh, well, you sound very ambitious, and it's wonderful to have such amazing ambitions at your age, especially. And I want to congratulate you once again on winning the WA state finals, and now moving into the next round of the competition in New South Wales. We wish you all the very best.
Yeah, thank you.
You're so welcome, and thank you for taking the time to come onto our show.
Yeah, thank you so much as well for giving me the opportunity.
You're so welcome. Now, I hope that this story has really given you like that kick up the butt that you needed, if you needed one, and made you realize that if you really want something in life, you gotta fight for it. And if something isn't working, then okay, maybe kind of put it on pause for a bit, think about it, try something new. Speaking of something new, it's going to be either a Thursday or a Friday. So this week we are releasing something brand spanking new at Pistachio Llama. I am so excited. There's so much happening in this episode. Seriously. So Pistachio is releasing something new, something which we haven't done before. And it was kind of like a spur of the moment idea. So we're going to see what you guys think about it and let us know what you think about this new thing that we're releasing. So we're either going to release it Thursday or Friday. Originally, I was like, yeah, we'll have it ready for Tuesday, like same time that the podcast comes out. But then I'm like, no, you know what? Let's slow down. Let's have it all perfectly ready for you guys. So it's going to be either the Thursday or Friday. So keep a lookout on our socials. We'll be announcing it there. So sometimes in life, if one thing's not working, we need to put something on pause and try something new, or we just need to kind of reconstruct what it is that we're doing. Like, keep doing what we're doing, but have a look at it from maybe like a different angle. Like, for example, like I'll be honest with you, going on a career break and starting out a business hasn't been easy. I think I've mentioned that to you guys before. And something that has really helped me ground myself and figure out whether what I'm doing is right, and what it actually is that I'm doing. Because sometimes you might be going like, what the hell am I actually doing with my life? So something that has really helped me has been not so much astrology, but more numerology, especially Chaldean numerology. Now, I know this has nothing to do with cats and dogs. This is just like for people that are actually struggling, which I know that a lot of people are struggling, like coming from a corporate environment. This was pretty much on the daily agenda where people were like, oh, what the hell am I actually doing with my life? So if you are actually needing a little bit of grounding at the moment, which is totally normal, we're going through an extra hard period now as well, economically and financially. This Chaldean numerology in particular has been something that has helped me a lot. It's different to Pythagorean numerology, which is like the Greek numerology. Chaldean goes even further than that. It goes back to Babylonian times. So, and Pythagorean numerology has actually evolved from Chaldean numerology, so it's got some similarities. But for example, something that Chaldean numerology does differently is they don't have the singular number 9 because they consider number 9 to be sacred. And well, I believe that it goes a lot deeper than what Pythagorean numerology does. Like, for example, Chaldean numerology gives you all these pyramids. So it gives you like a pyramid for your highest self and your higher self, which are more kind of derived from your birth date. Then it gives you another pyramid for your name itself, like the vibration of it. And then it gives you other pyramids, for example, like your personality or your inner self, like the deep hidden, like the deep you that no one sees. So I've been looking into that, and granted, yes, it's quite hard to find something about Chaldean numerology on the internet. I've had to do a lot of digging, a lot of research to find something substantial. So if you guys are interested in this is also something that I can delve into a little more, maybe if not on this podcast, somewhere else, but let me know what you guys think about this. Have a look into it if you're feeling like you need a little bit of helping with yourself, but you don't necessarily want to go see someone, or let's be honest, you can't afford to see someone right now. Like, I was at the nail salon the other day getting my nails done, and like cost was always on a girl's agenda. but not to this extent. Like, there were ladies in there going like, oh, I like this color, or I like chrome. How much is it? And then they'd be like, oh, it's $10 and extra. So they'd be like, oh, don't worry about it. They'd be like, oh, I really like this shape. How much is it? That's like $10 extra. Oh, don't worry about it. So they was really sticking to their bare basics. So yes, it's hard out there at the moment. And if you're one of those who are really feeling it, I don't want you to feel like you're alone in this. Like, everyone's feeling this, and there's no shame in admitting it and seeking help as well. And seeking help, but also kind of cutting back. And I know it's really hard to say in these times, and I really got to be careful about how I phrase this as well. But don't be such a yes person at work. And I know you might be thinking like, oh, this is so easy for you to say. Well, it's not. Like, having a business is super risky. I've had nights and days where I've made more than I made in a week at my corporate job working at a law firm, but then I've had days and weeks when I made absolute zero. So that's the life of a business person. It's not easy, and that's just the reality of it. Like, everyone who has a business is going to tell you this. Like, unless you got like 20 different drop shipping stores, all drop shipping, let's be honest, crap, but it's crap that's currently selling, and you're on top of the trends 24/7, then you are going to struggle in one of your businesses at any one point of time, especially if you are trying to build something that's of quality and that's not exactly going with the current trends. For the next part of this podcast, which I mentioned earlier, it's a funny story. It's a real life story. It really happened. It happened over in the US, in Utah. This couple ended up, so they were returning an Amazon order. So for those of you who don't know, I don't know who needs to know this, but if you need to know this, Amazon is all online, right? So they were returning their order so they were returning back an item which they purchased from Amazon. And funny enough, you know what, I've had this feeling like ever since we've had a cat, which has been for years now, like over 10 years, ever since we got a cat, when it comes to doing the washing and putting the washing into the washing machine itself, I will actually, like, when I've finished putting all the washing into the washing machine, I've put the powder in or the liquid or whatever I'm using that day for the laundry, I will once again open up the front loader, quickly digging through the clothes, checking whether the cat hasn't accidentally slipped in. Like, I don't know what it is. Like, I've just had this crazy feeling ever since we've had a cat. Like, I need to check the washing machine prior to pressing the on button. Like, I don't know if anyone else does this. I don't know whether I'm just crazy, but I've always done it ever since we got a cat. And this couple in Utah, oh my gosh, they ended up, and once again, please don't be a freaking moron and repeat this. They ended up, I don't know how, but they mailed back the cat. Like, they mailed the cat in their order back to Amazon. Now it was said in the story, it was a news report. It was an actual news report that this cat was in the mail for over 6 days by the time that the returns processing officer, or whoever it was at Amazon, that opened up this parcel and discovered the cat. So of course, like, it was taken into a veterinary clinic, it was checked out, and the owners did come to collect it. Like, they were for their cat, very much missing their cat. So I don't know how this cat got in the mail, but it's all okay. It's all good and well. It's come back home. So I hope I haven't given you PTSD now. So next time you are shipping anything off, returning any of your parcels, please double check that your cat or your hamster or your small dog hasn't got into the parcel. Now, before we head off for this episode, I want to thank you for joining me in episode 3 of the LLAMASTE podcast. I hope you continue to have a awesome rest of your day, a awesome week, and I will be seeing you back here next week, Tuesday. Mwah.